Hey love, are you ready to get to the root of your chronic hormonal acne and start healing your skin naturally? Say hello to Cycle Syncing 101, your skin-loving, hormone-balancing guide to glowing skin from the inside out. So, I am going to walk you through each phase of your menstrual cycle and how to care for yourself and therefore your skin with the right foods, lifestyle habits, stress support, and environmental changes specific to each cycle phase. We'll also set you up with a super simple cycle journaling routine so you can track your breakouts, your mood shifts, and general patterns. And finally start connecting the dots between your skin and your cycle. So let's do this. Because clear skin starts with understanding your menstrual cycle. All right, so your menstrual cycle is made up of 4 different phases. And the first phase is the menstrual phase. And these are the days that you have your period. It's approximately days 1 through 5 of your cycle. Your uterus is shedding its uterine lining. Your energy is low, and your hormones are at their lowest point. You might notice that your skin is extra dull or easily agitated right now. So my skin tip for your menstrual phase is to ditch harsh skincare right now. Keep your skincare simple and restorative when you have your period. Your focus for your menstrual phase is to rest and replenish and go inward. When it comes to keeping your hormones supported throughout the entirety of your cycle, make sure that your meals are full of protein and healthy fats and fiber. But some meals to love during your menstrual phase are warm, iron-rich meals like soups and stews, root veggies, leafy greens, and red meat. Consume foods with omega-3s like flax seeds, chia seeds, or wild salmon. All of these foods also help to reduce inflammation. Dark chocolate for magnesium and for any cravings that you're getting during your period. When it comes to lifestyle habits for your menstrual phase, cancel plans. Nap like a queen, journal, do some gentle movement. So think yoga, stretching, or walking. Allow yourself to do less because your body is already doing a lot. So in whatever way that's realistic to you, give yourself a break and just be mindful of moving slower. Even if you can't fully shift the events of your day around, just in your mind think, okay, I'm going to let myself move a bit slower on my period days. For stress support during your menstrual phase, get cozy. Use a weighted blanket, a heating pad, drink herbal tea like raspberry leaf tea, which actually helps with cramps. Again, slow down your day and do your best not to rush. Say no unapologetically and protect your energy, protect the state that your body is in. Odds are you're gonna want to be keeping it chill. And maybe that means saying no to plans or clearing your schedule a bit more. Environmental and general tips for the menstrual phase include being in environments with soft lighting, taking warm baths. It's easy to get overstimulated when we have our periods because of the low levels of our hormones and the sensitive state that we're in. So make your environments a little extra warm and cozy during your period and let your space feel like a little cocoon. Okay, so before we move on to the next cycle phase, I want to set you up with this super simple daily journaling practice. So you'll grab a fresh journal and you can consider this your menstrual cycle awareness journal. Go ahead and open up your journal and write out the day of your cycle you're on and the date. Tip: if you don't know which day of your cycle you're on, just wait until you get your next period because the first day of your period is the first day of your menstrual cycle. Every cycle resets back to day 1 once you get your period again. So every evening you'll be marking the day of your cycle that you're on, writing the date, and you're going to take note of things like your mood, your energy levels, your appetite, the type of exercise you did that day, your mental state, and just kind of like generally what you did through the day. Like if you had a super stressful day or a super busy day or a super chill day. And of course, take note of how your skin is doing. Is it breaking out, looking noticeably clearer? Is it looking dull, irritated, etc.? Set a reminder on your phone so that you remember to journal every night. And put your journal in a place where you're gonna see it. I just put mine on my bedside table. Menstrual cycle awareness journaling is your secret weapon for decoding how your menstrual cycle affects your skin and you overall. Spending just a few minutes every evening reflecting and tracking can reveal powerful patterns that you didn't even know were there. Okay, now that you've got your journal all ready and set up, let's move on to phase number 2. The second phase of your menstrual cycle is the follicular phase, which technically begins with your period, but Because our bodies need such different things on the period days of the follicular phase and the non-period days of the follicular phase, we just separate them into the menstrual phase and the follicular phase. So this is approximately days 6 through 13 of your cycle. Through the follicular phase, estrogen starts to rise, and your body is working to grow eggs in the follicles of your ovaries. And energy is going to start returning to your body with this rising estrogen. And you might notice that your skin is looking brighter and less irritated, also thanks to your rising estrogen levels. So take note of where your skin's at in your menstrual cycle awareness journal. Skin tip for your follicular phase: since your skin is likely less agitated right now, you can reintroduce exfoliation or those harsher products into your skincare routine if that's something you like to do. I don't really like to do any harsh products personally, and this is just a little tiny side tangent. Any types of like retinols, any of that stuff, no matter how I've used them, or even like AHAs, BHAs, whatever, they've always just been so agitating to my skin, which is kind of part of the process of them, I know, but if you've been using that kind of stuff for a while, I recommend you give it a break overall. But if you do enjoy those products and you see that it helps your skin, now is the phase when you can reintroduce that back in, now that your skin is less agitated, since you're not on your period anymore. Your focus for this phase is fresh starts in your body, your skin, and your routines. In these days after your period, it's like your body gets a little reset. You're literally in an entirely new menstrual cycle. So you can think of this as your inner spring. New energy is coming in, new ideas, and it's the perfect time to start introducing healthy habits that will support your skin all cycle long. So maybe you'll feel inspired to adjust some of the food you're eating. Now again, throughout the entirety of your cycle, you're gonna wanna be sure you're eating plenty of protein, healthy fats, fiber, but some foods to specifically love during your follicular phase are light, fresh foods, sprouted grains, fermented foods, raw veggies, cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, kale. Cruciferous vegetables actually support estrogen metabolism, so your body's going to be able to get rid of any excess estrogen, which can be a cause of acne. Enjoy foods that are antioxidant rich, like berries and citrus. And you can also add in some zinc-rich foods, like pumpkin seeds and lentils, to help repair your skin. Some lifestyle habits that might actually be easier to implement through the follicular phase because of the support that your estrogen gives you as it's rising are to try new things and plan out some fun things to do. Get excited and get going on your creative work. Build in movement into your day, like strength training or dance or cardio. You can definitely push yourself more now. And your brain is also sharpening up, so it is the perfect time for planning and learning. Some stress support for the follicular phase include decluttering your space and giving it a clean. I love to do a clean right after my period. It just really sets the scene for a fresh new start. It's kind of like spring cleaning if you think of it in terms of your follicular phase being like your inner spring. And it can definitely ease some stress and just get you in the right mindset. You can also try different breath work and upbeat meditations or just listening to empowering music. Have some social time with your friends or your family and think of some lighthearted fun things to do together, because that's going to ease your stress and help you to tap in to the fun vibes that you have in this phase of your cycle. Environmental and some general tips for the follicular phase are, again, refreshing your space, but beyond cleaning, that could just look like opening up your windows, bringing in flowers or plants, lighting some light citrusy candles, or even diffusing some essential oils for a bit of an energizing boost to your environment. And don't forget to keep tracking each day of your cycle. Remember, your menstrual cycle is not just the days that you have your period. It's the entire 28 days or so of this full physical and hormonal process going on. So that means you're journaling every day. So just because your period's over doesn't mean that you stop journaling. You keep on going. And be honest with how you're feeling physically and emotionally. And don't feel bad if how you're feeling isn't in alignment with this rising estrogen phase that's typically associated with higher energy and higher confidence and a more positive mood. If you're not feeling those types of feelings naturally, that unto itself is actually a great indicator of where your hormones may be a little off, or where you need more support in your life. So just take note of it and be super honest and just know that's just going to help you decode your cycle more and understand how to care for yourself better. All right, we are moving along through to the third phase of the menstrual cycle, which is the ovulatory phase. The ovulatory phase is when ovulation occurs. Ovulation is when the most dominant egg in the follicles of your ovaries bursts out of its follicle and makes its way from the ovary and through the fallopian tube. Now, during this time, estrogen is peaking. It's reaching its highest levels of the entirety of your cycle. This tends to bring you confidence and high energy, and this is approximately days 14 through 17 of your cycle. It's almost more of an event of your cycle than a full phase, because you'll notice it's quite a short phase, but it's a very significant moment in the cycle because ovulation determines a lot when it comes to your hormones and therefore how your skin is doing, which we'll get into a little bit more in the next phase of your cycle. But despite all of the positive associations with the ovulatory phase, this also might be a time where you notice that you're breaking out. This can be due to a surge in luteinizing hormone or in androgens. So my skin tip for the ovulatory phase is to be on the lookout for some sneaky mid-cycle breakouts. And take note of this in your journal because this could be a good sign that your acne is fueled by excess androgens. And your focus for the ovulatory phase is estrogen metabolism and anti-androgen. So some foods to be eating to support this cycle focus. Again, we're always focusing on high protein, healthy fats, fiber through the entirety of your cycle. But some foods to love during your ovulatory phase are foods like raw carrots actually help to remove excess estrogen. So you can make a carrot salad out of them, keep it in your fridge, and eat it throughout your ovulatory phase. Consider adding more fiber with flax and quinoa and beans, and add in some anti-inflammatory foods like turmeric, ginger, and green tea. And drinking spearmint tea, which helps to reduce androgens. Now onto some lifestyle habits for the ovulatory phase. So with your estrogen rising to its highest levels, you're being put in your social butterfly mode. So schedule interviews, fun things to do with friends, work hard on your dreams and your projects. Enjoy higher intensity workouts. Odds are you're going to have the energy for them and they're going to be feeling really good to do at this cycle phase. And of course, don't forget to hydrate. Your skin will thank you. Now, just because estrogen is giving us more optimism and high energy to do the things we need to do, it doesn't mean that we're not going to have any stress. You're going to actually want to balance all of that go, go, go energy with some grounding activities like yoga. And you can also add in some magnesium-rich snacks like almonds or dark chocolate to soothe the nervous system. When it comes to the environments that you might enjoy being in your ovulatory phase, you might find in your ovulatory phase that you enjoy being in busier, bustling environments. So given this insight on your ovulatory phase, in your menstrual cycle awareness journal, take note, are you feeling the upliftment of this high estrogen phase? Are you noticing signs of ovulation, which include thinning discharge, slight cramping, rising libido, or are you not seeing any of these signs? This is really important to take note of because it might mean that you're actually not ovulating. So keep all of this in mind as we move on to the fourth and final phase of the menstrual cycle before it repeats again, which is the luteal phase, which is approximately days 18 through 28 of your cycle. The luteal phase is when the walls of your uterus are thickening with nutrients and blood because your body is preparing itself for a potential pregnancy. The follicle that released its egg at ovulation is now forming a structure called a corpus luteum, which is a structure, an endocrine gland, that releases progesterone and estrogen. And this is a reason why it's so important to ovulate, because if you're not ovulating during your ovulatory phase, then this whole process can't happen. That follicle would have never released an egg, so then you wouldn't be forming this corpus luteum, so you won't be making that progesterone and estrogen that's coming from the corpus luteum. So it's important to support your body and understand your unique needs and your health so that you can ovulate and have a really healthy cycle. But assuming that ovulation did occur, progesterone is going to be rising and your estrogen is going to be taking a couple of dips throughout this phase before all of your hormones crash right before you get your period. And this is likely the phase where PMS is knocking. And it's also a peak breakout zone for many people. So let's support your skin through it. Skin tip: be on the lookout. Your skin is likely to be more oily, inflamed, and this might be the time where cystic acne might be showing up. So be on the lookout and track it. And with that, you might notice that your skin is chronically broken out, and there's not a time where you specifically notice it breaking out. It's just happening all the time. Take note of that too in your journal. Odds are this is a classic phase where you're going to notice some breakouts. So the focus of the luteal phase is to reduce inflammation and stabilize blood sugars and stress. So what are some foods to love during your luteal phase? Again, throughout the entirety of your cycle, focus on high protein, healthy fats, fiber, all that good stuff. But some luteal phase specific foods include complex carbs like sweet potatoes or brown rice. This will help to support your mood and energy. It'll keep you full. Foods that are rich in vitamin B6 like bananas, salmon, turkey. You might want to avoid dairy, sugar, and refined carbohydrates. These foods tend to be quite inflammatory and can also affect your blood sugar. So if you're needing a sweet treat, I recommend eating it with some protein to soften the blow on your blood sugar. Lifestyle habits for the luteal phase include honoring the slowdown. You're likely feeling up and down in your emotions. You're likely also feeling tired. Progesterone actually has a mildly sedating effect, so you might feel a little bit foggy or just tired. When it comes to exercise, you might want to do some more relaxed movement like Pilates, walks, yoga. You can also try out my 15-minute yoga for PMS. But you might also find that your emotions, maybe some anger, some agitation, will actually fuel a really good workout. Sometimes I get my best workouts in before my period starts. This phase isn't about pushing yourself. It's about kind of reflecting, tending to your needs, keeping things chill. Odds are, if you're pushing yourself, you're just gonna get more tired and frustrated. And for me, that doesn't work too well. You're going to be needing some stress support through your luteal phase. I recommend adding in a B complex supplement. I use one that has extra B5. You might want to take some breaks from social media or just be mindful of when you're getting overstimulated, because overstimulation can definitely happen more easily in this hormonal state. This is also a great time to journal or talk through the emotions that are coming up. You can also relax and listen to my ASMR for PMS relief. I'll leave it in the description box. And some environmental and general tips for your luteal phase. This includes keeping your skincare routine simple. You might want to start taking a step back from any intensive, active kind of treatments that you do. Sleep hygiene is key in this sleepy phase of your cycle, so support yourself with proper rest, sleeping in a dark room, keeping it cool, and taking on some different wind down rituals. Maybe that's yoga, maybe that's drinking tea, reading a book instead of going on your phone before bed. And throughout your days of your luteal phase, you're gonna want to have time to unplug often. Your nervous system and your skin will thank you. I also recommend getting some magnesium in through the luteal phase. I find that if I start getting more magnesium in these days before my period starts, it really has an impact on my intensity of cramps. You can get magnesium through food, but you can also take supplements or take an Epsom salt bath because your body actually absorbs the magnesium from the salts. And remember, your MCA journal is a great place to put your emotions and your feelings and your thoughts out on paper. All right, that is all 4 phases of the menstrual cycle, and that is your skin-loving, hormone-syncing roadmap. By tuning into your body and supporting yourself at every phase of your cycle, you're not just managing your acne, you're healing it. And you're also continually healing and supporting your body overall. It's such a way to honor your cycle and honor the big work that your body is always doing. In order for this process to be carried out cycle after cycle, we need to give ourselves proper care so that all of these functions can happen. The more you become aware of your cycle and the more you live by it, the clearer your unique needs and patterns will be. And then the better you'll be able to take care of yourself. And I know this is a lot of information and a lot of suggestions, so don't get overwhelmed by all of it. The goal isn't to be like strict and stressed out about what food to eat and how to be living your life and what to be doing in your day-to-day. It's more about adding new things into your routines in a realistic way, and then building on those positive adjustments as you go on. I truly do think that the more you can commit to these different habits, the more of a change you're going to see in your skin. So if you can mark off a time where you can really be committed to these habits of diet and lifestyle and cycle tracking in your journal, if you can really commit to a dedicated time, several cycles, I think that that will definitely give you a jump start in your skin's healing. But life presents us with a lot of things, and we're not always able to have all of these ultimate, most ideal care practices in place. It's just not necessarily so realistic to think we can always be caring for ourselves at that level, given the commitments we have in life, the things we're responsible to. So do what you can, do what you feel motivated to do right now, and just build on things as you go along. And then as you implement more things, they just become natural to your routines and your day-to-day. So then you can kind of add more things in to work with. If you're gonna start anywhere, I highly recommend just starting with making a journal. Even if you're not starting to implement any of these practices yet, just implementing a journaling practice, taking note of each day of your cycle, and starting to draw patterns just from your baseline of what you're already doing, that is a very powerful way to start. So if you start anywhere, start with a daily cycle journaling practice. And I hope that this video gave you a good idea of how to do that. I also have a whole video explaining how to do it if you want a bit more of an in-depth look on how to do the cycle tracking. Our skin is so hugely impacted by the health of our bodies, and the health of our bodies is so hugely impacted by what we're eating, how we're living, our stress levels, the environments we're in, the amount of exercise we're doing, the products we're using, all of it has an effect. So the more that we can align with what our bodies need, the better off everything is. And I just want to say too, I've seen such a huge improvement in my skin and in my relationship to myself and how I care for myself and care for my skin through this type of menstrual cycle work and this commitment to it. And I'm not perfect. I'm not always going all out in every category of care for myself, of diet and lifestyle and environment and all these things. But I have a very strong awareness, and I'm always working with these different practices. And I see the effects of that. And that's why I want to share this with you, because I see the positive impact it makes. Okay, well, I hope this video was helpful. Thank you so much for being here. Subscribe and like this video so that it can reach more people who might benefit from this information, and share a cycle syncing practice that you think you're going to be taking on in the comments down below. I will see you in my next video. Bye, loves.